Hey, I'd like to do a quick overview and mini review for Dawn of the Monsters. I'm playing this on Stadia Pro right now, and honestly, I cannot recommend it. The game's locked at 30 FPS for some reason. I had a lot of problems getting this to run smoothly. I even went all the way to the game center, which is on the other end of town, or a decent distance away at least. And they have fiber internet, and it still didn't work well. So, if you see this overview, and you want to buy the game on Stadia, I would not recommend it. Honestly, just wait until it comes out on the native platforms. The game itself is quite good, and we'll get into that. It does have some major downsides, but that will be for the end of the video. First, let's talk about the mechanics. Now, if you like Tokusatsu, be it Rider, Sentai, Garo, stuff like that, or kaiju stuff, I think this game will suit your fancy either way. This game's a great love letter to Tokusatsu. It's also developed by a very diverse group of people. I actually really like if you look in here.
Oh, you actually want to read? Awesome.
They have characters from like all over the world here, and they're all done very well. She's a really cool character, and he's Aegis Prime. He's basically the Ultraman guy. I think it's pretty unique that he's actually like older in his 40s. Generally, Ultraman protagonists these days are like Bishonen, but he's like in his 40s, and he has a lot of cool stuff to say. I really like the story for what it's worth. There are some downsides to it, but we'll get into that at the end. For now, let's get to the mechanics.
My friend.
Okay, so the main gear mechanic in this game is your augments. You have 3 slots in there. I think there's like up to 12 tiers. So these have a variety of perks on them. So like right now, I've got hyper armor on light attacks. I have movement speed proc on dodging. And I have killing enemies with heavy hold 1 builds your cataclysm meter. There's other stuff in here like rage attacks give vampirism. Perfect dodging, stunning nearby enemies is actually really nice too, because it will allow you to basically have some free time to start a combo. Lots of really cool stuff in here. There's nothing class specific, but you can definitely make a lot of builds feel like they are class specific or character specific, just depending on whatever they excel in. Alright, so let's get into gameplay.
Easy, my friend. Be careful out there.
You can see his little henshin sequence there is very, very accurate to the Ultraman henshin in Rise. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, so you got your S string. You have your heavy string. You have like this pursuit kick thing. You have hold attacks. Here's your hold string. And then you have your rage attacks. Rage attacks are done by holding the block button and the corresponding button that it shows there. They have varying amounts of meter requirements, like this. That lowers their defense, and it has that little smart bomb on it. He has this. This is his 2-bar one. Now that one is both a side switch and excellent crowd control, as you can get everybody on the same side, which this game has a lot of beat-em-up fundamentals, despite the fact that you're playing as literal giants the size of skyscrapers. It's got a lot of the same elements there. You have a dodge, and you also have a guard. There is parrying in the game, however you cannot guard cancel in this game, so dodging is going to be your main defensive option. So you can cancel out of basically anything. Generally pretty early in the animation, like not right away, but good enough. So the combo system is actually pretty deep too. Let's go ahead and show some basic stuff here. There you go. Boom. So parrying isn't terribly useful unless you spec into it. There is a perk that I found that gives you meter when you parry. The bosses in this game are pretty much in permanent hyper armor, so anything that revolves around inducing hit stun, you're definitely going to want to switch that out. Thankfully the game makes it pretty easy to do that, but you definitely want to change your build depending on the character you're using and the situation you're in. Like on a boss, you want to take out anything that involves crowd control or hit stun. You want to focus on like damage or meter regen, things like that. So your Cataclysm attack is the purple meter under the green health bar, and the bottom bar is your rage bar. So basically the hierarchy is you generate rage with your normal attacks, and then you use your rage to generate Cataclysm. So let's go ahead and build up the Cataclysm bar right now. So there you go, you see it gave me about 1.5 meters for doing that combo. Obviously, that combo is not very resource positive, but that's just an example of how it works. That's basically how the hierarchy works. Also, the attack hierarchy is you can go from normal attacks to heavy attacks to this or rage attacks. So here's like normal, Zen stance cancel, normal, heavy, heavy, side switch, and then that. Okay, so there's a couple other things I should show here too. So as you can see there, parrying negates damage, but just dodging through the attack is better because you get a lot more invincibility and it's going to be more practical. This game gives you some pretty challenging situations to get put in. Okay, so this is the second beat 'em up in the past month that has weapons that aren't terrible. We're making some big changes here in the beat 'em up genre. Weapons are actually useful in beat 'em ups apparently after like 30 years of being mostly useless outside of some exceptions like Final Fight 3 and Fight and Rage. Weapons are actually good here. If you can pick up a weapon, it will basically ensure that you can do major damage on at least one enemy and kind of start the battle at an edge. So there's status effects in this game as well. I haven't really played as the other characters yet, but Aegis Prime, he has a road, which means that he lowers their defense. So he's kind of like a glass cannon in a way. Pretty much explain the rest of this here, but here's some basic combos that they show with Aegis Prime. There you go. Alright, let's get into gameplay. Okay, so you have an inventory system in this game. You can also re-roll your perks as well. Like, for instance, with him, I've got Rage Generation and Vamp, which basically is lifesteal and meter gain. Meter gain is really important for him since that's pretty much one of his only sources of crowd control and burst damage. So as you can see over there, I've got a lot of crit damage, I've got a decent amount of Vamp, and I have a lot of meter gain. And you can also sell and re-roll perks as well, so if you get a bad roll right away, you can use the money and just re-roll it. Also, there's a workshop here. There's like some minor progression mechanics in here. As you progress through the game, you'll get health, rage, and cataclysm upgrades. So basically, you'll end up with a bunch of health, you'll have a full rage bar, and you'll have 2 cataclysm meters, which can actually be really nice because that means that it will allow you to use, at least 1 or 2 during a level, and you might still have one available for a boss as well. There's also a bunch of colors to unlock in there as well. Those are unlocked by getting S pluses in the game, which is basically this game's equivalent of a pure platinum. So let's just get to some quick gameplay. This is going to be a steamroll because There is no leveling up in this game, but the perks do have increasing stats as you get through the game, depending on their tier system as well. So we're just going to show how things work.
Aegis Prime, Earth's
We're going to
bravest
show how
hero.
things work in just a regular scenario. I would rather do more unedited raw gameplay of this when it comes out on other platforms, because I just don't like playing games at 30 FPS.
All right, team. The Nephilim have breached the wall that separates New Toronto from the infested Old City.
Should they be careful about this?
No, I'm not gonna be careful about destroying the buildings. You ever watch Tokusatsu?
It's
always the abandoned warehouse districts where they fight.
There's
Never any casualties.
Ooh, like a piñata?
Yes, like a piñata.
So scoring determines how you get your upgrades at the end of the level, depending on how high your rank is. The more higher quality augments or buffs you'll get. So the main way to get a lot of points is overkilling. If you do more damage to an enemy when they're almost about to die, you will get an overkill bonus. And that's one of the most consistent ways to get a S+. So in the upper right-hand corner there, I did a lot of overkills, so that got me an S. To get an S+, you need to get an S on every single fight in the level. You're ranked individually on each fight, just like a Platinum game. I honestly think the ranking system here is a lot better than the stuff that Platinum uses. It's like too punishing, and you have to like play the game in a way that's not always fun. This is pretty much just kill stuff, but do it efficiently. Make sure that you get your overkill bonuses. Make sure that you're grouping up enemies and you're killing them all with the overkill bonus like simultaneously, and that score will just skyrocket.
Into the Old City. There's one last horde on the way, but this one's big.
Right there, I just overkilled 4 of them. Obviously, this is an endgame character with endgame augments, but just wanted to show a little bit of the gameplay flow.
Well done. A shuttle is on its way to bring you
There you
back
go.
to Sunrise.
Boom. And that's pretty much Dawn of the Monsters. As you can see here, that was an S+, so I'll have the highest selection of perks. This is the beginning of the game. This is literally the first level, so the perks aren't going to be too impressive, but you'll see how the ranking system works there. It's like, see, I got three of the highest tier for this world, which is tier 3, because I got an S+, but as you go down, you'll see that you have access to less and less of the higher tier perks. So I'm just going to go ahead and sell these, because I already have, like, tier 10 stuff. In terms of my thoughts of this game, I'd say it's a good game. I can tell they put a lot of work into it, a lot of research. A lot of things about this game are great. The main problem with it is the lack of replay value. There's lack of replay value for a number of factors. The first is that the game is quite long. This game has a pretty good narrative. I actually watched most of the cutscenes. I know that's kind of alien for me, but I did watch it, you know, because Tokusatsu's been a big part of my life for pretty much since I was a kid, so I really liked all the references and stuff. The campaign is just too long. It is not arcade length at all. Also, there's not really anything to unlock. When you beat the game, that's pretty much it. The only real unlockables there are these stat upgrades, and you'll get these just from playing the game, pretty much. Unless you're being really frivolous and blowing it on these costumes. The costumes are nice, but I think these are really like the only replay value component in the game, so... obviously, if you're going for survival, you're going to want to upgrade these, but past that, there's nothing. There's no endgame mode, there's no harder difficulty, there's no higher tier of loot or anything, which is a shame because I think this game it has everything it needs to be like a really good action roguelike. You have 4 diverse characters, they have large movesets, there's already builds and gear in the game and stuff. You know, all they would need to add is like some randomization, probably a little bit more interesting gear as well. And I think this game would be really fun, but at $30, I think this game it's not going to be for everybody. If you're looking for something more arcade-oriented, I think Streets 4 and Fight and Rage are still going to be the best you're going to get for the foreseeable future. This game is a contender for those games in terms of depth. It's lacking the replay value. The campaign is too long to replay. Also, if you go back and play the other characters you didn't play, you're going to be too tempted to just use the perks you already have, and those are going to make you just plow through the game anyway. They did say that they did want to add some kind of endgame mode, but it depends on sales. Who knows how well this game will do. I hope it does well. It deserves it. I had a lot of fun with it the entire time I was playing, but I got to the end and I just kind of felt hollow because there really isn't anything left, and the game's just too long to turn on and play. It's not like, you know, Streets 4, you can beat that game on the train, Fight and Rage as well. This game is nothing like that at all. It's a shame because I think that they could really add a good endgame to this without having to really draw any new assets or monsters or anything. It's already a pretty decent enemy and boss roster in the game. I think they have more than enough to support like a roguelike or endless mode with like more gear or something, but right now it's not in the game, so if you're going to be waiting on that, I mean, I would argue it's kind of an empty promise. Who knows how the game is going to sell? I think $30 for this is a bit steep because, you know, Streets 4 and Fight and Rage are way cheaper and they have way more material value, material replay value than this does, and this doesn't really have any at all. If you can look past that, it's worth it, but also there's no online play either, so I'm sure it's probably a lot of fun with friends, but you would have to rely on Parsec or Steam Remote Play together to do that. I will be playing this again when I get the review key for the native version, because playing this at 30 FPS sucks, to be honest. I definitely fought really hard with Stadia to get this working, and I'm sorry if the quality's not up to my normal standards, but for whatever reason it runs at 30 FPS, so I would not recommend, and if you're thirsty for this game after seeing this, I would recommend waiting for the official release and just go from there. Thanks for watching.